Not that it ever really went away, but Donald Trump and his allies have been taking a victory lap over this apparent deal they struck, which apparently achieves long-lasting peace in the Middle East. There's no more fighting. Iran gives us everything we want, except that deal has collapsed in real time, and even Donald Trump is admitting to it.
So Harry J. Sisson just called out Trump's complete foreign policy meltdown in real time. And honestly, this is critical viewing. We're watching America's Middle East strategy collapse while allies abandon us and military leaders exclude Trump from operations. The data he's about to show is devastating.
I think it's always a good rule of thumb that when Donald Trump says they've achieved a deal, it's going to change everything, you do not believe him. The media sometimes fall for it. We won't. We see this time and time again. It's cyclic with Donald Trump. He does it every single time. And now our allies are turning on us.
This pattern is documented and predictable. Trump announced North Korea denuclearization in 2018. Kim kept building weapons. He declared the Taliban deal would end Afghanistan. It accelerated collapse. Now allies are questioning American credibility because they've seen this movie before.
Remember, Donald Trump said it's open for business, that any vessel can get through the Strait of Hormuz, no problem, no worries. That's what he said on social media the other day. And let's just go through the timeline. So February before the war, there were over 130 vessels crossing, which was pretty typical. And then the war happened, and then, one or two vessels were crossing. And now we're up to 35 on April 18th, which is better, but not going to solve any of the major problems. Not going to solve the gas prices, not going to solve the grocery prices or anything like that. It's trending in the right direction. 35 is the most we've had in quite some time, but Iran and the United States are still going at it.
Those shipping numbers tell the real story. The Strait handles 21% of global petroleum liquids. From 130 ships to 35 represents a 73% drop in capacity. That directly translates to supply chain disruptions hitting American consumers through higher energy and goods prices.
Donald Trump even said on social media this morning, Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. That wasn't nice, was it? My representatives are going to Islamabad, Pakistan. They will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations. Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade has already closed it. They're helping us without knowing, and they are the ones that lose with the closed passage, $500 million a day, which the idea that Donald Trump is trying to turn this around on Iran and say that actually they're the ones who are losing and not the American people is absurd.
Trump's logic here is backwards economics. When global shipping routes get disrupted, American consumers pay through inflation, not Iran. The $500 million daily figure ignores how supply chain bottlenecks ripple through our entire economy, hitting working families hardest.
Because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy, as if he's been Mr. Nice Guy so far. Was it Mr. Nice Guy when he threatened to commit a genocide against the people of Iran? That doesn't strike me as very nice. They'll come down fast, they'll come down easy, and if they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done, which should have been done to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years. Well,
targeting civilian infrastructure like power plants and bridges violates the Geneva Convention's protection of civilian objects. This echoes Bush's Iraq threats or Reagan's Libya bombing, but those presidents didn't broadcast genocide threats on social media beforehand.
Now, Iranian state media is claiming that a war is more likely than negotiations. Donald Trump in those social media posts has been saying, we're going to Islamabad, Pakistan, we're going to send our negotiators, and it's going to be great. Iran state media is taking a different approach, saying in a series of posts, state-affiliated outlet Tasman News accused the U.S. of keeping negotiations as a cover for escalation, writing that America keeps intensifying negotiations and signals in the media. Here's what they said. America, on one hand, issues threats, and on the other, keeps intensifying negotiations, signals in the media. Iran has presented its proposals based on realism and in accordance with the fundamental rights of the Iranian nation. Therefore, just as such pressures and threats in the past have had no effect on the negotiating table, this time they also will have no effect.
Iranian media is right here. You can't simultaneously threaten annihilation and claim good faith negotiations. This contradictory approach destroyed Trump's credibility with North Korea too. Diplomats call this talking yourself out of the room before talks even begin.
21 hours and they were nowhere closer to a deal than when they started those negotiations. So do I have faith that anything is going to change? Do I have faith that Donald Trump's lackeys are going to get it done? Not even a little bit. And if they do strike a so-called deal, deal, it's not going to be a good one. I mean, they've already announced that they're working on Iran's 10-point plan. They've announced that they want to give like $20 billion in unfrozen sanctions to Iran. It's ludicrous. There's insanity going on.
21 hours of failed negotiations with zero progress demonstrates incompetent team management. Compare that to the 2015 Iran nuclear deal negotiations. Those took months of careful preparation. Unfreezing $20 billion without concrete concessions is diplomatic malpractice.
So not only is all of this happening, not only is the Strait of Hormuz not open and war is seeming more likely, we're also learning that the military is intentionally excluding Donald Trump from meetings because he is so erratic, because he's so crazy, he's so unhinged in this war that they're actually keeping him out of the room so it doesn't jeopardize a mission. For example, Midas Touch, reporting on some exclusive details from the Wall Street Journal, reveals that military advisors intentionally excluded Donald Trump from the command room during the recent high-stakes operation to extract a downed U.S. airman in Iran because they feared his erratic behavior could jeopardize the mission.
Military leaders excluding the commander-in-chief from active operations represents an unprecedented constitutional crisis. This breaks the fundamental chain of command that's existed since Washington. When generals don't trust the president with military decisions, democracy itself is at risk.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump was in such a volatile state after Iran shut down this U.S. jet that he spent hours screaming at aides in the West Wing, obsessing over the political fallout and invoking Jimmy Carter and the 1979 hostage crisis. Officials made the call to limit his access, only briefing him at meaningful moments instead of giving him real-time control. Thank God.
The Wall Street Journal documented Trump obsessing over political optics while an American pilot's life hung in the balance. Compare that to Obama's methodical bin Laden raid oversight. This behavior pattern explains why military brass made the unprecedented decision to exclude him.
We have a UAE scholar that says the United Arab Emirates no longer needs U.S. protection, calling American bases a burden, not a strategic asset, and suggesting they should be closed. The United States' standing in the region has been obliterated. People in the Middle East, people around the world no longer trust the United States. We know this. We've seen this. We've seen our trading partners move toward other trading partners, completely excluding the United States from those conversations. Canada has done it. Great Britain has done it. France has done it, among the many other countries. And now our partners in the Middle East are saying, yeah, maybe we should not be working with the United States. They seem to be chaos. They seem to be trouble. They're bringing us into a war. Our country has been struck. Our people are in fear. Why are we helping the United States in this? What are we doing here? Which is kind of terrifying.
The UAE calling American bases a burden signals the collapse of our Gulf security architecture built since 1991. When regional partners actively want us gone, we lose intelligence sharing, logistics support, and forward positioning. Basically, our entire Middle East strategy.
European allies, and this is from Reuters, fear an inexperienced U.S. negotiating team is pushing for a swift, headline-grabbing framework deal with Iran that could entrench rather than resolve deeper problems. They worry Washington, eager to claim a diplomatic win for Donald Trump, could lock in a superficial agreement on Iran's nuclear program and sanctions relief, then struggle through months or years of technically complex follow-on talks. Quote, "The concern isn't that there won't be an agreement," said a European diplomat, one of 8 who spoke to Reuters. "It's that there will be a bad initial agreement that creates endless downstream problems."
8 European diplomats going on record to Reuters represents extraordinary allied concern. Diplomats rarely break cover like this. They're warning about another Trump framework deal disaster like his North Korea summit. All photo ops, zero substance, maximum future problems.
The Strait of Hormuz is still being blown up by the United States and Iran. Our allies are turning on us. Donald Trump is so erratic that he can't even be trusted in meetings. It's a lot of information, but important information. So I wanted to bring this to you because I really think it's important to not let Donald Trump or anybody in this administration get away with their lies, their deception, their falsehoods when it comes to this topic.
The evidence is overwhelming. Shipping data, military exclusion, allied abandonment, diplomatic failures. These aren't partisan talking points, but documented facts from Wall Street Journal, Reuters, and maritime tracking. Trump's Iran strategy has objectively failed on every measurable metric.